All right, so please, I want us to just quickly listen briefly to his profile. The Joseph Adeosun, TJA for short, is a brand strategist and a social entrepreneur armed with over a decade of experience. He informs, manages, and executes new and improved thoughts towards ensuring brand thrive with respect to their vision. His passion for social entrepreneurship is majorly invested in human capital development, specifically towards underserved communities. Tija, as the brand strategist, is mostly consulted to provide creative solutions to structures and systems in organizations, hence laying the right culture for individuals and organizations to grow with. Having worked with personal brands, corporate organizations and agencies, ministries, personnel in government, he is well versed in the art and act of leadership, management, strategy, development, and growth as it concerns individuals, communities, and brands. The striking nature about TJA's personality and his brand is his consistent approach to solving problems. His approach is hinged on creativity, simplicity, and excellence. TJA's die-hard passion for social entrepreneurship as it concerns human capital development led him to start Tijan, the Joseph Adeosun Network. Tijan is a youth-led, youth-focused, non-partisan, non-profit, non-governmental organization driving human capital development in underserved communities. Tijan is invested in enhancing and improving the skills, knowledge, abilities, and overall potential of individuals. These include awareness and dialogue events such as conferences, capacity development events such as workshops, creative awareness and promotion, and human and other human capital driven initiatives of similar links. Tijan started in 2019 in Osun, Nigeria, and has since grown to be a notable organization for youth and community development in the state. TJA also serves in the capacity of the brand strategist of Tijan Creative Hub, TCH, a creative agency delivering solutions from strategy to execution to ambitious brands across the world while harnessing indigenous creative talents. When it concerns creative gigs, think of TCH as the jack of all trades with masters in all. TJ currently contributes as a brand strategy expert to a Black-focused closed community for creators in the United States of America. His designated position is that of a mentor or coach in the community, helping creators around the globe grow their niche. Connect with him on all social media platforms via the Joseph Adeosun. So with the Phenomenal Ladies Circle Network Africa, can we give him a warm welcome as he jumps on his presentation this evening? Can we celebrate him? I don't know how we can do it over here. Is it with a clap? Is it with just, I want you to welcome him to the floor right now. You're welcome, sir. You have the floor, sir.
You're welcome, sir. We are glad to have you.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
All right, good. Yeah, I was going to say, I think you have to unmute me. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate the flowers. Looks like you guys gave me a garden, and it's not even February yet, right? So I understand that a whole lot of people will just be listening in, and might not be able to speak. So I hope that I was hoping it would be interactive, more interactive than just presentational, right? But either way works. I will deliver, and hopefully when we get to the question aspect, is there a way people can raise their hand if they want to speak? Is that possible?
Yeah, I guess there's a way people can raise their hand.
All right. Do I get to see it? Do I get to see that prompt that they raised their hand?
Okay, so can we try and do that?
Okay. Let's have Florence. Florence, can you just raise your hand? I want to see if I can see if you can raise your hand.
I'm here with you, sir.
Okay.
Oh, no. I was saying, can you
think
raise your hand? I don't think you can do that.
I don't think the feature is available.
Is
but we can-
available. Okay. That's fine. So maybe we just do what you just did now. If I need someone to speak, I'll just call on the person. It's a good thing I'm saying your name's here. Welcome Lydia, welcome Aditolapo, welcome Florence, welcome Jason Ferromi, welcome. All right, so let me just hit the ground running. We're talking about the subject matter, going beyond New Year resolution. And I know the phrase or term New Year resolution is not something new to anyone here, no matter what your age is. I know that one for a certainty that you must have heard the term New Year resolution. In fact, New Year resolution has been almost as old as the concept of New Year as we've come to know it. People for a very long time have been setting or charting their course, trying to, put a timeline to what they do. That, okay, tomorrow I'll do better. Do you understand? So it makes sense when a new year ushers in, you deliberately want to put some intentionality into setting a course for that year, right? So I won't bore you with history of New Year resolution. So I'll just dig in. Let's talk about the definition of New Year resolution first. As I said, I'm sure you are familiar with the term. However, let me just give you like a brief.
Sir, please, are you still there? Could it be network?
Probably. Let's just hang on a few minutes. I believe.
Yeah, it's probably the network.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, good. All right, so I said I'll just dig in first and talk about what is New Year resolution. As the name implies, of course, it has to be with a personal resolve, which is usually within the do with a personal resolve, which is, as I said, usually within the confines of the goal that you set for yourself with the coming of a new year. As I said, as the new year ushers itself in, naturally people, they are in that thought process that I need to, be in that state and do better for this new year, and sometimes it comes with a promise, to stop or start something. You might decide, I want to stop eating too much, and some other time you might decide, okay, I need to eat a lot more, add flesh, right? And for most people, the anticipated result is usually driven towards a changed behavior or a changed lifestyle. So if whatever you are doing is not within the confines of what I just said, it is probably not a New Year resolution. So the end result naturally should tilt towards a changed behavior or an improved lifestyle, as it were. Nobody sets a New Year resolution to be less than who they used to be, right? So that's not possible. So by definition, one would say it is really not a bad idea to have a New Year resolution, contrary to what many people say. Oh, we just set New Year resolutions and nobody really goes by those New Year resolutions. Yes, I'll get into that, but by the definition I just gave rather, it is really not a bad thing to set a New Year resolution, to have a resolve about a certain promise. It might just be a goal, which means for you, result being that you want to stop or you want to start something. You want your behavior to change in a certain way. You want your lifestyle to improve in a certain way. So basically, the idea of a New Year resolution is not bad, right? So it is primarily that the existence of a principle does not guarantee the positive results, which is where we are going to come into, right? New Year resolution as a principle for so many people exists, and that because it exists doesn't mean that you are going to be guaranteed a positive result. Even the existence of human is not a guarantee that life will just be a streak of positivity for you. I hope we know. This is the feedback I said I hope I could, mostly get. But then don't worry, I work with. I'm mostly an interactive person, more of a trainer, right? And
You can unmute your mic if where you are is not noisy.
okay.
Mute your mic if your environment is not noisy.
All right, that's good. That's really really cool. So I think I'll just work with that. So I hope we understood what I just said. That the existence of something primarily doesn't guarantee that it will churn out a positive result. So the very fact that there is a concept called New Year resolution, and the fact that you even have a New Year resolution doesn't really guarantee that your New Year resolution is going to stick, or you're going to eat your New Year resolutions. Do you understand? So same way with your goals. The very fact that you set your goals or that you have goals, right, doesn't mean that you would achieve them, right? So let's look at some facts, right? Some facts I picked up a few years back, and it might be stale, but not that stale. I think 2022 is not that stale. So the fact I have here is that there's a certain age bracket which are more prone to set resolutions yearly, and that age bracket is between 60 and 40. That's a very wide age bracket, I think which is what would be called like the youthful stage of one's life, right? And naturally is even the formative stage of one's purpose, right? So if you are at that age, you are more prone to want to have a goal set, have a New Year resolution. And the statistics shows that 80% of people who set resolutions yearly, they believe strongly in those resolutions. It's one thing to set a resolution, to have a resolution. It's another thing to believe that you can actually achieve it. So 80% of people, believe they can achieve it. That means there is a 20% we just, they are just following the bandwagon and setting New Year resolution because other people are setting it, right? So there is that bandwagon, right? However, 80% of people, believe that they want to really achieve this thing they've set, right? Now, the interesting thing about that statistic is that as the months go by, that number reduces. The confidence, in that number reduces. So February, the end of February or the end of January, we see that maybe that stat is reducing to 70%. So 30%. There's a 20% who just set, their New Year resolution because people set it. That's what they do. So they just set it. Not really like they believe that they are going to achieve, what they set. Then there is a new 10% at the end of January who are bowing out of their, New Year resolution. They become there's this statement, this Latin, is it Q Sera Sera or something? Maybe what is Q Sera the one they say what will be, right?
Yeah.
Right. So they become the what will be kind of people that what? There's life is hard, and then by February, after several heartbreaks, and he didn't give you the Valentine gift, and all of those things, you just decide. Some other people, some percentage of people now join the you only live once, take life as it comes, right? Don't really plan. All this planning, it really doesn't do much. You get? So as those months go by, we see that there's a reduction in that 80%. So by the end of December, maybe only 20% really now achieve their New Year resolution, actually follow through on their New Year resolution. So the discourse for today, which I'm trying to drive at, is that how do we improve that number of people or join that number or that percentage, very little percentage, right? That actually follows through on their resolution, achieves them. If their goals, they achieve those goals. If their resolutions towards change behavior, follow through and can say that this resolution was really resolved. You get, right? So the very first thing, if you have a pen and paper, which I believe you should have, or you have your notepads, the very first thing that you should consider, if this is supposed to be like a step-by-step guide, you can follow through on it. Hello, I am back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right, good. So this is supposed to be like a step-by-step guide because I like things very, very easy. I'm not built to bamboozle you. Do you understand? This is not supposed to be a wow moment. This is supposed to be a what can I pick and run with, right? Because before you close your eye and open it, it's December 2025 and you're shouting Happy New Year again. So what will change in December 2025? And I must commend, the organizers, which I believe is everybody here, right? Because if you're a participant, you've joined the success. You've joined in the success of the organizers, and you are making the event a success as it were. So I must commend the organizers and everyone participating in this event. Not so many people take this seriously. And as I said, I just talked about as months goes by, the statistics of people who really believe in their resolution reduces. Life has taught me that as years go by, a lot more people are not even setting New Year resolutions. They're like, what's the point? What's the point of setting a New Year resolution when they primarily believe that it won't be achieved? So Now, this is supposed to be a step-by-step guide to help you ride above that wave of people who would lose confidence in their New Year resolution, and you'll be able to stick with it and achieve your goals if you have goals in between them, right? So the very first thing, is you need a shift in your mind. Why do I say you need a shift in your mind? Now, anybody who knows me closely knows I talk a whole lot about the mind, because that is where everything that is forms first, right? If you can't capture it in your mind, it really can't, it has to be alive first in your mind before you can deliver it to the world, right? So I speak about mind a whole lot because it controls a whole lot more than we give it credit for, right? So the mind is a very important part of our existence as human beings, and it's important that we pay attention to it. I believe personally, as humans, we don't pay enough attention to our mind. We don't, and that is why our generation is now being flooded with the concept of mental health, because people now see reasons to pay attention to their health mentally, right? So, as I said, the very first things, or the very first step, as it were, to eating your resolution, or as the team says, going beyond New Year resolution, is you need a shift in your mind. So, what do I mean by a shift in your mind as regards New Year resolution? The very first shift you need in your mind is the fact that it is termed New Year resolution doesn't mean you have to set or have that resolve exactly January 1st. And, take it as a guide that January 1st is really not even the best time to have a resolve, right? Because you are amidst a Yuletide, and it's quite normal that you are not even in the mood for something that serious. You are in that holiday bizarre, right? It's yummy everywhere, right? Chicken wings there, turkey laps over there, and for some of you that you are fried rice people, you are eating fried rice. Some who are for swallow, eating swallow, and it's almost impossible for you to set a good resolution at that time. So it's important that you are not setting it January 1st. Nobody is putting that rule. There's no rule stated that New Year resolution, for it to work effectively, you have to set it January 1st, right? So as a thumbs rule, I would advise people, right? Please, if you can't hear me, just call my attention to it, right? Maybe network or something,
Yes, sir.
You can hear me, Abby?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
can hear you clearly.
All right, good. That's good. Thank you so much for the feedback. All right, so as I said, you need a shift in your mind, and shift meaning first that you don't have to set your New Year resolution on January 1st. In fact, you don't have to set it on January 2nd. Let me just take a sensor. How many persons here, be honest, we listen, we don't judge, right? How many persons here don't have a New Year resolution? So everybody here is claiming to have one.
Hello.
Okay, Lydia.
Okay, so I won't say that. I will just say that when the year started, I didn't necessarily set out New Year resolutions for the year,
Good.
but I just
Good.
tried putting my plans, so to say, into bits. So I just did for January, February, March, and by the end
Nice.
of March, I intend to do for the next 3 months that will come after. So I don't
Nice.
have a whole one for the whole year. So I don't know if I fall in that category.
And yeah, you still sort of. Anybody else that doesn't, if you don't have at all, like, or maybe I should add, is there anybody here that doesn't even believe in the concept? Because it's okay if you really don't, that's why I said we all need a shift in our mind. I think middle child is trying to raise her hand, but let's phenomenon. The person speaking should speak first.
Okay. So I think for me, I don't necessarily believe in New Year resolutions because,
Oh,
for
that's
example,
good.
what I would have said was my New Year goals. I already started them in December. In fact, some of them are finished in December self. So
Nice.
So I don't necessarily attach them to New Year. In fact, sometimes it's just a continuation of what I am already doing. Like there's nothing new on the list. It's just a continuation of things I've already kickstarted in the previous
Perfect.
year.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. That's good. That's good. Okay, so middle child, I don't know if you still want to say something. As interesting as I think I saw you raise your hand. I don't know how you did that.
yes, I've unmuted so you can speak. I think that should be yeah.
Yes, she's unmuted but not speaking. I don't even know. I just assumed the person is a she.
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we guys can hear you.
So, I actually don't believe in New Year resolutions.
Okay, you don't believe
I
in
don't have
resolutions.
And I believe more in the fact that change is constant, and
Right.
I like not to be certain things. For me, I feel like having a New Year resolution just makes
like it boxes you.
So fixed, and it's like I like when my goals are flexible and all that. So yes, it's a new year. My goals are things to do. I actually don't I don't know how it works.
You don't know how what works.
I don't know how New Year resolutions works.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, can you repeat that again? I can't
Hello?
really hear. Yes, I can hear you now.
I said I don't know how New Year resolution works.
Oh,
I
you don't
think
know how
I've
it
never
works. Oh,
tried
you were
to.
not here. Oh, okay. Right.
See how it works. So
Oh,
I
okay.
really don't
Okay.
sit one.
That means you okay. I think I can take note that you were not here at the beginning. I had like a definition for New Year resolution. I'm happy to say it again, right? And in the definition, you can obviously figure out how it works. Naturally, even the words in the term New Year resolution is self-explanatory, right? However, the concept in itself talks or speaks towards having a resolve, which is mostly a goal that you set for yourself with the coming of a new year, right? And sometimes it comes as a promise to stop or start some things, the anticipated result being either you are driving yourself towards a changed behavior, right, or an improved lifestyle, right? So, and as I mentioned when I started, the concept in itself is really not such a bad thing, right? Having a New Year resolution in itself is really not such a bad thing, right? However, it's just the way a whole lot of people have gone about it, which makes it look, very mundane, very generic, right? And I buy into, the concept you talked about it, possibly boxing you, right? And you not being free to be more expressive with your mind, right? Especially when you are a creative person, right? So I will be speaking more about that in the next step I'll be talking about. But I like the fact that we are all open-minded, right? Nobody is looking at it from one view being, oh, you must have a New Year resolution. No, there's no rule governing that. Those with New Year resolution are more likely to succeed. There is no such rule. Let's not, lie to each other, right? And there's no rule saying that your New Year resolution has to come January, right? There's no rule saying that if you don't have more, you will succeed in life. There's no such rule, right? And which brings me to the second step. Remember, all these steps is about going beyond New Year resolution. So the second step is seek knowledge. Now, this is the part that will correct some of the things we are saying. Not correct it in that sense, more like give what you have just said, give it more flesh, right? Like make it, more sumptuous to you, right? For someone that said, I don't believe in the concept of New Year resolution, and the person talked about not knowing how it really works, as it were, and it's being sometimes an hindrance to, boxing one's mind, right? Knowledge-wise, what a New Year resolution is supposed to do is help guard and guide your mind. See, the mind is a very wide and wild place, right? If you don't put some restraints to it, it will just keep going, and you would now be in that constant state of thoughts without action, right? And that's because you are not putting some structure into it, right? So a resolution is supposed to be some form of structure, right? So I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, you're a plus-sized woman. I don't know why I'm using health. I hope it doesn't bite me in the ass, right? So take, for example, you are a plus-sized woman, and you've decided that the coming year you would work on your weight, right? So you want to do a lot of exercises. Now the very first thing, as I said, in shifting your mind is, you don't have to start January 1. Do you get? You might start the nitty-gritties even from December or November, or pick whatever date. The moment you just decide, you have it in your mind that I really want to work on my fitness. You don't even have to be a plus-size woman to decide that, right? You might just be, you can be a slim person and still decide, I want to be more fit, right? So the moment you decide that, you then put structures into place. You don't have to wait to now set it that, I will do it next year, or that will be part of my New Year resolution. Even if that is at the back of your mind, start with the nitty-gritties now. One of it being seek knowledge. Okay, what does it entail if I really want to get fit, right? Fitness experts, they say, it's not just about eating the gym, it's about what you eat, right? It's about your diet too, right? But if you don't seek knowledge, you will just go and be lifting and be, doing snap with mirror, spend more time with the mirror at the gym than actually doing fitness, But once you sort out, some form of knowledge that gives you that confidence, because that's what knowledge is supposed to do. It gives you the confidence in what you resolve, what your resolve is, right? Okay, this resolve, I need it, I want it. How do I go about achieving it? So what are the nitty-gritties I have to know? What are the things I have to consider? What are the things I need to put in place? Does it need some financial commitment? I can hear myself, I'm not sure why, but all right, I think it's better now. So does it need some financial commitment? Are we supposed to, what more do I need? Once you are able to seek knowledge on that subject matter, you'll come to find that it is easier to stick with that resolve than it is not. Remember, as I said, you don't primarily have to start at the beginning of the year. Nothing is stopping you from starting at the beginning of the year, or if that is what works for you, right? However, there is no rule stating that you have to, right? So the next thing on the subject matter as a guide, right, is do not be a chicken. I'm very sure that must be very funny to you. Like, okay, do not be a chicken. Yes. Now, somebody here mentioned how that sometimes a resolution can be what is supposed to be, a principle for advancement can, be a cage or a barrier. That is a rule in life, actually. Whatever you are good at is possibly something that can also bring you up, right? The whole take for instance, if you are someone, let me use the example of if you are someone who enjoys what he or she does, right? Now, do you know enjoying what you do can drive you to a place where you are not people oriented? You make it more about the work than the people. So you are so fixated on work. Now that can also dampen your health. I mean, work is such a good thing, and if you are putting in, the effort in doing because you love what you do, I mean, naturally you should get reward for that. But how do you explain that you are paying attention to your work, and because you love it so much, it is affecting your health? So it is not just about New Year resolutions too. It happens to almost anything that would advance you in this life. Your work would naturally advance you, but it can also hinder you in some other places if you don't put a level of structure to it. And that's the same thing for, your resolutions too. The concept is that you are able to put some form of structure to it. So I gave you the first one, that you need a shift in your mind. Keep your mind open. Don't make it about January 1st. New Year resolution is not about January 1st. Going beyond New Year resolution would mean that you know now that New Year resolution isn't about January 1st. It's more about the resolution than the new year. So you might as well just forget the new year. But all well and good if you are, most likely to put better structure with the coming of the year. That works too, right? So the second thing, as I said, is you sort out knowledge. Knowledge will help you build confidence and put some level of structure to whatever you seek to do. Now the next thing is not to be a chicken. Why I put this is we are in that generation where we seem not to do well with any form of discomfort, right? We want what we want, how we want it. And life generally doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. It's impossible. I know it might look like a statement of hasty generalization, or but I personally believe it's an hypothesis, not a theory, but I personally believe that there is no single person successful in this life that got to where they got to how they thought they would get to the place. Sometimes you want lemonade and life is giving you lemons. Figure out how to make lemonade. And sometimes, what you want is, lemons, and life doesn't even have anything to give you. You have to go and look for seeds and plant your lemons yourself. Right? So, life doesn't work the way we sometimes expect it to. And sometimes we might be forced into that concept of how do I put it? We might be forced into thinking that since we didn't get what we want, how we want it, maybe this thing is possibly not working. But also you want to set out into this fitness journey, right? And the next 1 month you're looking like, what's happening? I don't know what you ladies really look out in fitness, or people do fitness for different reasons, but imagine you are doing fitness and the reason being that you really want to keep fit, right? And then the next 1 month, your legs and arms are paining you, and the next thing you are thinking is maybe fitness is not for you. I'm like, that's this generation way of doing things. You don't do that. You don't step into something and the next form of discomfort, you take it as a sign not to do it at all, right? Not when you've done your due diligence. It's a different thing if you've not sought out knowledge, you've not known for a fact that, this is really what I want to do, why I want to do it, because that's what knowledge does to you. You settle your why when you seek knowledge, that, this is why I want to do it. This is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. What most people now do is that they have a set expectation in their mind, right? It is really not bad to have an expectation. However, your focus should be more on the act of doing than what you expect to see. Because if you do what you are supposed to do, plus or minus with what life throws at you, there is something that you would get as a result. Naturally. That is life. So, as I said, the third thing is, do not be a chicken and, cowering at every sight of discomfort, because that way life will just eat you up and not just your resolution. So you won't be, the worry won't be about your resolution now, it will be about you. Because once you begin to chicken out of things you've set for yourself that you want to find a resolve on, and you go back on it, you are cheating yourself. You might think it's about, I didn't just do that, and you made yourself less confident in your ability to do anything. And that's just how it works, right? And that's why you see how that successful people, when they succeed in a certain area, it seems as it gives them enough confidence to take up another thing, believing that they will succeed in it. It's just natural. The more you win, the more you believe you can win. The less you win, the more you sometimes believe that maybe I can't win. It's a confidence thing, yes, right? Now, the fourth thing, which is the second to the last, is support and accountability. That is something that is mostly lacking in our generation, right? Sometimes people want support, but they don't want to be accountable. It's very funny how that works, right? So you want support, but you don't want to be accountable, right? And we see that very first in our teenage years, how that we want our parents to fix this, do that, and but we don't want them to ask us, where are you coming from this night, or why are you wearing this dress? How come your makeup is this loud, right? but you want them to buy you the makeup box, you want the lush and good things in life, but zero accountability. So you want somebody to give you 1 million naira, but you don't want to account for it. You don't want the person coming to ask that, what's up? What happened to the money? How did you spend it? Right? And the two of those things must go hand in hand, and that's why I put them together. Support and accountability is something that would help you go beyond New Year resolution. You need to be accountable. We lack it a whole lot in our generation. If I begin to ask around now, if I say, do you have someone you are accountable to? Right? Let me ask. Let me make an example. Ola Day, I think your name is Oluwafikun Ayomi, so let me call you down. Oluwafikun Ayomi, can you hear me? Can your mic be unmuted, please? I know time. I'm working with time, and I would. Oluwafikun Ayomi. I like the name actually. Oluwafikun Ayomi. Oluwafikun Ayomi has gone to turn. I don't think she's there. I don't even think her mic has been unmuted. Okay, let me stick with Jesu Fermi. Jesu Fermi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, that's good. So I want to ask you, do you have an accountability structure?
Yes, I would say so, because so it's actually recently that I got serious with that. So I won't call it a major structure, but this is it. So before 2023, my friend told me, okay, what do you want to do in 2025? I'm like, okay, them down. I think I had like 9 things, and was like, okay, you have these things to do. I also have these things to do. Okay, we make sure that we gap it and make sure, okay, this month we are doing this month we are doing this. And then this is end of January, and my friend came, okay, yeah, those things you say you would do, Alpha, what's the progress? And so that actually like keeps me on my toes and also keeps me
I mean, that's perfect. Kudos to you and your friend, right? And I hope you're also doing the same for that friend, right?
Yeah.
Because of her. So now let me tell you how to put an accountability structure. Now there are 3 cadres of people you should be accountable to, or not should be, you must be accountable to, right? If you are not even accountable to them, they will demand accountability from you. And that's just how life works, right? The very first person is, which you possibly might not have thought about, is someone younger than you. Yeah, you like, should be accountable to someone younger. Why? Like, am I not the leader? Right? Am I not the egbon? That's in Yoruba, right? So why should I be accountable to someone younger? Yeah, because you should know that a lot of people are looking up to you, no matter who you are. I tell people, when I do a whole lot of goal setting class, right? So, and one of the very first thing I tell people when I talk about accountability is that, you see, that driver wants to become NURTW chairman. It might look very ridiculous, like, now that one a goal. That's his goal. Do you understand? Right? And Uluomo is not a joke in this country, right? And that person who is a conductor wants to be a bus driver one day. So if as a bus driver, you are aspiring towards something higher, you have to set some form of accountability that allows the person who is looking up to you gain something from you. It helps you even do your things rightly. You know that I can't do anyhow, because there are people that would have to learn from something that I've done, right? It speaks to you documenting the things you do, whether mentally, even though that is proven to be a very, very false way of documenting things. So the best way being that you archive it somewhere, either through written or video or digitally or something, right? So it makes more sense for you to know now that you have to be accountable to people behind. The next thing is that you have to be accountable to your peer group, people on the same level as you, guy man, right? Sis, I don't know how ladies interact with each other, I'm Jason Fermi. How do you people interact with each other? If you see another lady, how do you call her?
Babe.
Okay, babe. Yeah. So, babe, so do that way and say, babe, how far? This is January ending. You buy wig. What about your gig? Right? Did you also get gigs, or you're just buying wig? Right? February is starting. Are you receiving flowers and not planting garden, or you get? So that's how you do it. You need to be accountable to people of your peer group, right? And the next is that you need to be accountable to someone ahead of you, right? Naturally, most people only put forward accountability to someone ahead. But if you have a structure that allows that sets you in that 3 states, that that there are people looking up to you, and you are accountable to them to do the right thing, to do right by them too, right? It might look like a lot of pressure, like I never even figure out my life, and now me then they look up to. Yeah, now you then they look up to, because no matter how stupid whatever you think you are doing, somebody wants to do it too, right? Somebody out there is looking at Portable and saying that make I just be Portable, and you are here like Porty what, and that's just it. And that's just it. People aspire to what they aspire. You can't change that. So yours is to make sure that you are doing right by yourself first, which, just have that sense that there are people looking up to you. Then you have to be accountable to also your peer group and someone ahead of you. Now, the next thing is learn to adapt. Now, adaptation is fundamental to human nature. However, we sometimes forget that we can adapt. Sometimes when you think of how far you've come, you would know that you can go through some things. There are some things you must have thought would end you. Like, no, this will be the end of my career. And you went through it and came out fine, or maybe with bruises, or with with trauma, right? But you've learned to live with it. People live with traumatic experiences every day. Maybe not the best healthy way to live, but people live with all of these things because it is innate in man to adapt. Very innate to adapt. So learn to adapt. Middle child. That's the name I'm saying. So excuse me if I seem to be referring you as middle child. Middle child said something about how she just wants to acclimatize with the times and not box herself. And whilst that is really cool, it's important to know how to adapt to those changes, because things are changing rapidly. Every AI these days, when they want to start any sentence, they begin with in this fast-paced, fast-growing, all speaking to that the world is moving at a speed that we sometimes can't fathom, right? So it makes sense for you to explore that option, which you already have in you, and that's the option of adapting. You can adapt to any situation. Trust me, it might seem like it's impossible, but you can. So whether you are starting your New Year resolution or you have a resolution for starting maybe March, it doesn't mean your year cannot end great. And that's the importance of, this theme, going beyond New Year resolution, right? So going beyond it, you have to learn to adapt to a whole lot of things, because change, as Middle Child said, which is very correct, is constant. Meaning that it will always happen, whether you like it or not. You might not like the change, doesn't mean it will happen. Yours is to adapt as fast as possible. And maybe 50 years ago, we possibly wouldn't be thinking of, holding webinars and connecting with each other, all over the world, using some form of gadgets, in front of us. We even knew the name gadgets then, right? But now, things have changed, right? Things have changed. And that's how it works. Who would have thought that, there could be a power source that could power up, a phone, Who would have thought of electricity some millions of years ago or something? Or thousands of years ago, let me start. But the change came, people adapted. So don't be the last on that train, where there's a need for you to adapt, even sometimes beyond what you call a resolution. And then you are saying, no, you are trying to be stick-headed. Stick-headedness gets nowhere. You are trying to be rigid, and in your own opinion, you say, I'm being dogmatic about my resolution. That's not dogmatism. That's just you being stick-headed. When you know that, the times are favorable to this thing, just like now, right? We are in that generation where AI is not just everywhere, it's the new year. So sometimes I ask people, okay, what AI are you using in your business? Can AI? I'm like, this is the problem. You are not exploring this. It is a big problem. And then you say your year didn't end great. Somebody, you are using 20 hours to do. Somebody is doing it in 2 minutes. And you're looking like, this person is this person is looking like this person is not given to a life of struggle. All the person had to do was learn a new way that is working in the world now and adapted. So you too can adapt. You can put in the work and adapt. So with these 5 things that I've mentioned, a shift in your mind, which is important, you sorting out knowledge, which would build your confidence, you not cowering. I just used the word to not be a chicken, right? You're not cowering at every slight chance of discomfort, because there will be a lot of discomfort when you make a resolve, right? So if you go beyond, that just making the resolve and towards actualization, you would have to stick with what you said you want to do, right? And on that way, look for support and accountability, right? Putting that structure in play. Tell someone that, I want to start this fitness journey. Maybe you go with me. Can we go together? Or you meet people over there that, call me please, in case, I set my alarm for 7:30 a.m. in the evenings. In case I'm not here at 7:30, just bring me, please. I would really appreciate it. And before you know, you might just make a new friend and learn to adapt, right? Adapt to the times, what is changing, whatever works at that moment, that era, adapt to it, because it is innate in you to do so. So thank you very much. This is me for now. And I hope I was able to stick enough to time. I would be handing over back to the moderator. Thank you so much for having me here.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss. Sorry. TJ, the Joseph Adeosh. I was going to add Mr.
Yeah.
All right. So it's been an amazing, 1 hour listening to you. And honestly, my notes are full. Thank you so much, sir, for this. So I'm just going to us, let's say, 1 or 2 minutes, or maybe give the opportunity to 1 or 2 people to ask questions. Like you have questions concerning what I said. Apparently, it gave back that we need to take on with us when we are trying to work on our resolutions, whether they are New Year resolutions or they are old resolutions or just personal resolutions. But then anyway, it gave 5 major points. And if you have questions concerning them, please, I want you to just quickly notify. There's a way you can notify so that we just like unmute you and you ask your questions before we excuse our dear guest. So do we have anyone like that? Do you have questions at all? Anybody?
Yes, I have questions.
All right, Ma, you have.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, Sarah. Thank you so much for that wonderful session.
You're welcome.
So I have 2 questions. The first one is, how do you stay motivated on the goals that you have set, especially when it seems like you keep hitting roadblocks back to back, like not just.
So please repeat that.
Okay, I said, how do you stay motivated,
Okay.
especially when you keep hitting roadblocks, like different challenges? So it's not like you're not putting the effort or you're setting the structures, but everything seems to be meeting a dead end. So how do you keep up that resolve to keep on pushing? And then my second question is it possible to keep yourself accountable? Now, this is a personal one for me. I tend to be quite self-driven. Like, I don't usually need external motivation. Like, I've planned to do something. I've created like 1 million documents, templates, what I need to do, checklists, blah, blah, blah. I just happen to be able to hold myself responsible. So I usually don't thrive in the area of accountability, so to speak, because it's really just me and myself planning and achieving the goal and moving on to the next. And even when people are aware, like, I do have like circle of friends and associates and all of that. Before I remember to tell you that I've ticked this one, I've moved on to the next one. So it's like, I think my question is it compulsory that you must have like a strict set of accountability partners and all of that?
That's a beautiful one. The moderator, would you like me to answer the questions or?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can answer the questions. Probably some other people can have more questions from.
More questions.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
they can go on.
All right. So the very first question she asks is, how do you stay motivated with a whole lot of roadblocks? So primarily you put in effort into what you're doing, but the result is not, commensurate to the efforts that you put in. So how do you keep yourself, motivated, right? And now that's a very big question, because what we see in our generation is people who seem to be giving up on the concept of motivation. So motivation, there's no need. You don't need motivation. Just set out to do something and you will do it. Whereas we are having we say you don't need motivation. but we are having a lot of people being depressed, right? So why excuse the need of something that is pivotal to the human race? Now, I'm not so big on the concept of motivation myself, because motivation is short term, but short term is not no term. If this is something you would do that would just be something that bounces you off to the next thing that would now help you shoot to the stars, maybe motivation is just that bouncing ball, right? It really doesn't take you to the sky, but it might take you to the point where you are able to hold on to a rocket. Do you understand? So why excuse that spring ball and be looking for a rope to climb, right? So I needed to state that motivation is a need first, right? So now let's go into how do you stay motivated regardless of roadblocks. The very first thing I would say is that there are things or places or communities, that are set to motivate people. First is, I personally, I bury myself in books. Sometimes when I'm doing a whole lot and I'm like, why is none of these things, I read a lot of biographies. I just go and pick somebody's biography and say, well, this person said it looks like this person too is having hard difficulty doing this at this time. Sometimes shared experience, can also be that thing for you. For me, it's like book. Sometimes it's shared experience. Sometimes, I'm in the confines of people, and I just ask a question like this, and I'm like, I'm trying to get this thing done, but it's not looking like it's gonna get done. And I'm feeling some kind of way about it. And sometimes they share their own experience. I'm like, I tried getting it done too. It didn't do too for me too. And one would think that is that not a community of failures? No, it is not. It is you knowing that even if you are failed at this thing or you are currently failing at this thing, other people have other areas or aspects also, or maybe same aspects too that they are failing at. So it gives you that level of maybe not confidence, right? But that level of settlement that, okay, this is not, I am a failure in this entire world, and it's only me that is not progressing, right? But how do you now move on to being motivated? As I said, for me, I choose books, I choose knowledge, right? If something is not working, I choose, knowledge. Sometimes I might choose extracurricular activities. We don't emphasize that a whole lot in this part of this world, right? The solution to what you're looking for might be in something you possibly never even thought of. And that thing might even give you joy. If you play football, tennis, any form of sport, you like to walk, do you understand? Sometimes just to go do other things. Keep your mind off that, roadblocks or barrier or stumbling blocks, right? And look for other means or other things that excite you. Sometimes go shopping. You'll be like, how does shopping help my work? A beautiful parfait might just excite you. Just do something that that naturally this thing brings you joy. So leave that and go for that. So feel that for that moment, and then maybe come back, refresh. Sometimes it just does the trick. And if you are looking at staying motivated through the process, well, it boils down to your why. What I mean now is staying motivated through. Oh, okay. Let me use the example I've been using. You want to get fit, or maybe the get fit now is you really want to reduce in your size, and you are putting in the diet, putting in the effort in going to the gym and everything, and it looks like you use 6 months and reduce just 1 kg, and you're like, when will I reduce 10 kg? Like 10 years? Go back to your why. The why you started it in. That's why they say your why has to be strong enough to last you a lifetime. Because why really is, the strongest question you can ever ask yourself. Like, why am I doing this? And that's why I said so that you don't end up being that lady who wants to get fit, but just ends up being a gym content creator and not actually getting fit or reducing in size or whatever you set out to do. So go back to your why. The why is not that you wanted to reduce. There was a reason that made you reach a resolve that had to do with you wanting to have a reduction in size. The reason maybe be self-confidence. You believe, if I reduce my size, it might probably propel my confidence more, and let that why go back to it and say, okay, this is why I'm doing this. It's a big part of your motivation. So sometimes we forget as human beings. So it's important to remind ourselves of that why. So that's how you stay motivated in the process. But if you are talking about staying motivated outside the process, go look for other things, extracurricular, bury yourself in books, do other things that excite you. You get? It's a way to keep your motivation with roadblocks on the way. The second question you asked is it possible to keep yourself accountable? Well, it's actually very, 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 very impossible. I know it sounds very weird. However, you might have tools, right? I said it's a very technological savvy age, right? You might have tools that help. Alarm is an accountability structure. Do you know that? Just that ordinary alarm on your phone. They're like, alarm. How does that keep me accountable? Yeah, it does keep you accountable. You say you want to wake up this time. It helps you sometimes wake up that time. Some of us have programmed alarm in our brain. Our parents programmed that accountability structure without us even knowing. So they woke us around 4 a.m. early enough in our lifetime. And till now, no matter what you do, no matter how knackered you are the night before, you just find yourself waking up 4 or 5. And you're like, naturally, you were not designed to wake up that time. If it was another person who didn't have that structure at the early years, you wake up whenever they like. Do you understand? So we've had a lot of accountability structures over the years. Sometimes it's programmed into us already, but sometimes we don't pay attention to it. And as I said, even in our current state, there are a lot of tools that we can, employ as an accountability tool. Do you understand? Some, can set reminders for you on the phone. Some can help you remind you of things that you said you wanted to do. We have if you wear all these smart watches, they can vibrate in your hand. Do you understand? Some of those vibrations said it will look like if it wants to increase your heart rate, right? So those are accountability structure. However, I would implore you to also have an humanistic side to it too, right? And why that is important is it helps with your connection. We are in that generation where relationships are becoming more and more fickle, right? People are not seeing the essence of it. And that's a bad way to go, right? Because what that means is, with years to come, this it probably be a global village with no human connection. So you get, so boats will deliver your food to your doorstep and every grocery that you need. I mean, it will be like COVID all over again, but this time is the new norm, right? Everything is just delivery. You won't step out. Humans weren't designed to not interact with other humans, right? So it's important that we, have that human interaction. It helps you build your network and connections with people. When you invite people into your planning process, they feel very among in your stage, in your growth stage. They feel very, and sometimes you might even be helping the person without knowing. Just the same way I was telling Jesu Feromi that, I hope she's also extending the same thing that a friend is doing for her to the person. So, it just helps. Trust me. In Yoruba, they say igikon idagoshe. That means one tree cannot make up a bush or forest. So I believe I had that right for the Yoruba learned folks here before they have my house. So that's just it, right? So I hope I was able to do justice to your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other person?
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your response, and thank you, Miss Mary, for your question. All right, any other questions? Any questions? Yeah, I just want to even buttress on something that our dear guest said.
All right.
It just baffles me because technology these days just makes it more difficult for connection, right? Like one major one that is really annoying me at the moment, let me just come and vent on this thing here, is WhatsApp reactions. Like before, you will see status and you will comment, or you will see posts that you will comment, but now you will react and there's no reaction to the reaction.
I mean, WhatsApp. I'll scroll back to the last 5 messages, no response. What?
Just reactions. So like I feel it's making people talk less, connect less, and just waka pass, view and waka pass. And I one thing I told myself eventually was, okay, I'm gonna stop reacting to statuses or messages, or if I'm gonna react, I'm going to react and also respond. Say something, so that I don't end up getting used to just reacting and then stop talking, stop complimenting, like I don't even have words to say again. So I feel one of the reasons for what's it called, accountability is connection. Like, and again, I believe in the midst of connection, you get to even get more ideas. You get to get enlightened the more. Like, we may think we have the best ideas, but someone will just tell you something and you're like, okay, I didn't even think in that direction. So I'm done venting about my anger.
You're right.
Thank you, sir.
We all must take deliberate steps to ensure that technology doesn't put a stop to human connection.
Yeah, we do. All right, we have, thank you so much, sir. So we have let's say less than 5 minutes more, so I'll be close, but I still want to give one more person an opportunity.
All right.
To ask a question. Anybody? Going. Well, if you have questions later, we can just drop it in the group and then we'll forward it to our guest. All right. So I want to.
Sorry. I wanted to ask middle child.
Okay.
I know she mentioned that she doesn't really know how the whole concept of New Year resolution works. I wanted to ask her if she has some form of sense to it right now. Can she be unmuted?
Yes.
Oh yes, all right. That's good then. That's good. Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Medicha. Please, can I know your name, ma'am? Dear middle child. Okay. I think. All right. Probably you can just put it in a group chat so that we get to know you beyond middle chat. All right. We are now at the end of our webinar for today. I want to specially appreciate our dear guest. I'm trying not to put Mr. But
thank you so much.
the Joseph Adeosu.
Thank you so
much for pouring yourself into us. I mean, this is a lot, and I'm sure anyone that actually takes these tips and runs with it will actually get to the end of the road with the results that one wants. I mean, this is so profound. As simple as some of them may look, in fact, as simple as they may look, they are more like weapons that we need in achieving our goals. So I would implore every one of us to not joke with this. We've learned a lot from these, and I want us to actually make use of them. There's something that someone says that, okay, it is not just the hearer that gets blessed, it is the hearer and the doer. So yes, we've learned a lot today, but please let us be conscious enough to do them. One of the things I'm going to do personally, I'm going to write these tips, 5 of them. I'm going to put them in a sticky note and just put it on my laptop, put it on my door, and ensure that I see every day so that I will be able to make use of them every single day. All right. So also, I want to thank our dear, I would like to know, the convener of PLC, or founder of PLC Africa, Miss Mary Fadare. Thank you for putting this together, and the team, thank you for putting this together. And I also want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to moderate this. I really enjoyed myself all through. All right, right about now we'll be ending or closing this. Well, we're supposed to end by 9:30, but of course we are done earlier. So thank you so much for joining. Please look forward to the February edition of our webinar. We'll be having it every single month. So we're done with the first edition, January edition. Please look out for or watch out for the February edition. Trust me, it keeps getting better. All right, be ready to invite your friends, and you also be ready to participate as much as possible too. So thank you once again, everybody, and do enjoy your weekend, and happy new month in advance. January is finally over. Happy new month, everybody. Have a blessed month and a blessed year. I don't know if our dear founder has something to say before I leave or before we close this officially.
No, I just want to appreciate everyone, and most importantly our guest, for making out time out of his busy schedule to join us tonight. And I believe that we have learned very important things that we would go ahead to implement in all our plans for the year. And I also like to add that the replay of this session would be uploaded soon. So even if you have friends that missed the session, you can always share the link with them so that they can benefit from all the wisdom that we've been able to tap tonight. So that is all from me, and I wish you all a very fantastic February in advance.
Amen. Thank you. All right.
Enjoy.
Okay. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Joseph Mlarapwa. See you next time, maybe. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.